A single photograph can set the entire NFL community on fire, and what just happened in Florida has sent shockwaves through the Minnesota Vikings front office. I have been working my sources inside TCO Performance Center all morning to understand how much weight this visual really carries. Is a massive blockbuster trade actually brewing, or is this just a classic case of social media making mountains out of molehills? The implications for our receiving core and the salary cap are staggering if there is even a shred of truth to these whispers. We are diving deep into the locker room dynamics and the financial hurdles that define this situation. Before we reveal the name behind the drama, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss any of these exclusive internal updates on your Minnesota Vikings. A.J. Brown is the man at the center of this storm, after he was captured on camera wearing a Minnesota Vikings towel during a high-profile celebrity basketball game. This was not just a random piece of clothing. It was a loud purple and gold statement that immediately went viral across every sports platform. The All-Pro wide receiver was attending a charity event hosted by a current Vikings player, and while the atmosphere was festive, the visual of an Eagles superstar draped in Minnesota gear has created a PR nightmare for Philadelphia. My sources indicate that the tension between Brown and his current team has been simmering for months, and this latest stunt has only added fuel to the fire. Fans are already photoshopping him into a Vikings jersey next to Justin Jefferson, dreaming of the most dangerous receiving duo in NFL history. However, looking at this through the lens of a real insider, we have to ask if this was a deliberate signal or just a simple gesture between friends. The optics are undeniably messy, and they come at a time when trade rumors were already circulating about his long-term happiness in the NFC East. While the internet is losing its mind over the possibility of a trade, the reality behind the scenes is far more complex than a social media post would lead you to believe. If you think this is just a case of a player helping out a former teammate, you might be missing the bigger picture regarding how these superstars communicate their frustrations to their front offices. This photo has forced everyone in the Vikings building to at least acknowledge the noise, even if they were not looking to make a move at this specific moment. But the real question is why a player of his caliber would choose this specific moment to spark such a massive controversy, especially when he knows exactly how the media will react. The fallout from this image is just starting to reach the ears of the decision makers in both organizations, and the repercussions could be felt for the rest of the offseason. As we look closer at the relationship between the two players involved, the plot only thickens regarding how deep these connections really run inside the Minnesota locker room. But there is another key figure in this story who actually invited Brown to the event, and his role in this viral moment is being completely overlooked by the general public. What do you think about seeing a rival star in Vikings gear? Does it mean a trade is coming, or is it just a friendship thing? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now because I want to hear your take on this. Stick around because we are breaking down the second player involved next. Isaiah Rodgers was the host of the charity basketball event in Florida, and his presence is the primary reason A.J. Brown was there in the first place. Rodgers, who recently joined the Vikings as a talented cornerback, was a teammate of Brown during their time together with the Philadelphia Eagles. My sources inside the building tell me that Rodgers and Brown have remained extremely close, maintaining a brotherhood that transcends team loyalty. When Rodgers organized this celebrity game to give back to the community, Brown was one of the first people to show up in support. It was Rodgers who handed out the Vikings-branded towels to the participants, which is how the towel ended up on the shoulders of the All-Pro wideout. While it looks like a trade demand to the outside world, insiders see this as a show of solidarity between two athletes who have navigated the highs and lows of the league together. Rodgers is currently trying to carve out a significant role in the Minnesota secondary, and having a high-profile friend like Brown support his initiatives is a massive boost for his personal brand. However, the front office has to be careful about how this reflects on their recruitment strategies. Bringing in players who have strong ties to stars on other teams can sometimes create unintended leverage or pressure. We have seen players try to recruit their friends in the past, and while Rodgers likely did not intend to start a league-wide rumor, he certainly succeeded in putting the Vikings in the headlines for the wrong reasons. The reality of the situation is that the Vikings are currently operating with a very specific plan for their roster construction. And while Rodgers is a piece of that puzzle, bringing in his high-priced friends might not be feasible under the current salary cap. The friendship between these two is genuine, but the business of the NFL is cold and calculating. Even though Rodgers was just trying to host a successful charity event, he inadvertently created a narrative that the Vikings front office now has to manage. This situation highlights the fine line players walk between personal relationships and professional obligations. As we analyze what this means for the Vikings' future moves, we have to look at the financial reality that Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is currently facing. The dream of a superstar trade might be exciting for the fans, but the math behind such a move tells a very different story about what is actually possible for this. Looking at the technical side of this, Minnesota is currently navigating a very delicate salary cap situation that makes a trade for A.J. Brown almost impossible from a financial standpoint. General Manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has been incredibly disciplined with the team's long-term budget, and his #1 priority is securing a massive extension for Justin Jefferson. That deal is expected to set records for the wide receiver market, and adding another elite contract like Brown's would essentially paralyze the team's ability to fill other critical holes on the roster. Furthermore, the Vikings are already heavily invested in Jordan Addison, who showed incredible promise in his rookie season. Internal reports suggest the front office is fully committed to Addison as the long-term #2 option, and they are already planning to exercise his 5th-year option when the time comes. Bringing in a veteran like Brown would not only break the bank, but also stunt the development of their young star receiver. Kevin O'Connell's offensive system thrives on having a clear hierarchy, and trying to balance the egos and targets of 2 alpha receivers could disrupt the chemistry he has worked so hard to build. From an insider's perspective, the front office is looking at this viral moment as a distraction rather than an opportunity. They are focused on the draft and finding value in free agency to bolster the defense, rather than chasing flashy names that don't fit the current financial timeline. The impact of this rumor is mostly felt in the court of public opinion, where expectations often clash with the reality of roster management. Moving forward, I expect the Vikings to double down on their support for their current group and continue to distance themselves from these blockbuster trade whispers. The future of this franchise is built on sustainable growth and smart drafting, not on gutting the future for a single veteran who might already be past his peak production. While the fans might see a towel and think a trade is imminent, the people in the building see a complex financial puzzle that simply does not fit together at this time. The plan remains the same: pay Jefferson, develop Addison, and maintain cap flexibility for the defense. Any move away from that strategy would be a massive departure from everything Kwesi has built over the last 2 years. Ultimately, this viral photo serves as a powerful reminder of how much power the Minnesota Vikings brand holds in the current NFL landscape. Even a simple towel can spark a national conversation because people know this organization is on the rise and is a destination where stars want to play. It signifies a culture shift under Kevin O'Connell where players across the league respect what is being built here in the North. While the A.J. Brown trade remains a fantasy for now, the fact that these rumors gain so much traction is a testament to the talent already on our roster and the potential for this team to be a perennial contender. For the fans, it is a fun what-if scenario, but for the team, it is a sign that they must stay focused on the internal goals that actually lead to championships. The loyalty shown by Isaiah Rodgers toward his teammates and his new community is the kind of character this front office values above all else. This situation teaches us that while the social media world moves fast, the best teams move with calculated precision. The meaning of this moment isn't about a trade that won't happen. It's about the attraction of the Vikings culture and the strong bonds between players that exist behind the scenes. We are witnessing a franchise that is becoming a focal point of the league's elite, and that is something every fan should be proud of. Do you think the Vikings should find a way to make a move like this happen regardless of the cost? Or are you happy with the current plan to build around Jefferson and Addison? Your voice matters in this community, so let me know in the comments below. If you appreciate this kind of deep dive insider analysis and want to stay ahead of every move the Vikings make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel right now. We are your home for everything purple and gold, bringing you the news that matters straight from the source. The road to the Super Bowl is long, but we will be here every step of the way to keep you informed on what is really happening inside the building. Skol Vikings, and I will see you in the next update with even more exclusive news from the front office.